the Broadway musical that closed after 5 performances. Most Broadway flops struggle for months. Carrie didn't last a week. Based on Stephen King's best-selling novel, the musical adaptation of Carrie has become the gold standard by which all Broadway disasters are measured. And somehow, the real story is even crazier than the legend. The production arrived on Broadway in 1988, carrying enormous expectations. It was backed by the prestigious Royal Shakespeare Company. Its budget was a staggering $8 million, one of the most expensive musicals ever produced at the time. What could go wrong? Apparently, everything. The first problem was the show's identity crisis. Half of the musical was a dark, emotional tragedy about a lonely girl and her abusive mother. The other half looked like an episode of Fame. One moment, audiences were watching intense operatic duets. The next, teenagers in neon spandex were performing synthesizer-powered dance numbers. Critics didn't know what they were watching. Neither did audiences. Then came the technical disasters. During an early production in England, a massive moving staircase nearly decapitated Broadway legend Barbara Cook. The set piece came frighteningly close to striking her. Cook finished the run, then immediately quit the show. She had no interest in being killed by scenery. Back on Broadway, the problems continued. The famous prom scene required fake blood to be dumped onto Carrie. Unfortunately, the blood had a tendency to short-circuit her hidden microphone, which is not ideal when you're trying to perform a musical. And then there were the creative choices. Lots of creative choices. For example, there was an upbeat song about slaughtering pigs, performed by dancing teenagers in futuristic costumes. And instead of ending as a terrifying horror story, the original production featured Carrie ascending a giant glowing staircase into the sky, like a supernatural elevator to heaven. Audiences were confused. Critics were merciless. Yet strangely, some parts of the show were brilliant. Betty Buckley and Lindsay Haitley delivered performances so powerful that they reportedly received standing ovations in the middle of scenes. At the same time, other parts of the audience were booing. Imagine receiving a standing ovation and a disaster review on the same night. When Carrie officially opened on Broadway, the reviews were devastating. The lead investor pulled financial support almost immediately. And just 3 days later, the show closed. After only 5 official performances, millions of dollars were gone. The production became a punchline, and Broadway had a new legend. But then, something unexpected happened. Because so few people actually saw the show, Carrie became a mystery. Fans traded blurry bootleg VHS recordings, stories spread, rumors grew, and over time, the biggest flop in Broadway history became one of its biggest cult classics. Today, theater fans still talk about Carrie, not because it was a hit, but because it failed so spectacularly that it became unforgettable.